First of all, what potential changes are you mulling over ahead of Saturday?
Milnes. Obviously Milnes will come back in now. Hopefully it'll be more like kind of what we had a couple of weeks ago, last time we played Hull. There might be a little tweak to that with one of our outside backs, but we'll wait on that one.
Will Jake Connor be back in the mix?
Yeah, he's back in the mix, mate, yeah.
So a bit more of a settled side this week.
Yeah, a bit more of a settled spine, if you like, to be fair. Although the players that played last week did a good enough job, mate.
So Ethan Masters doesn't have to play at fullback.
Yeah, no, he wants to play at fullback. But Jake will come back in, mate. He'll start at fullback.
I bet he does. Just an update on Chris Hill. Is there any progress or update on his fitness?
Yeah, he's going along nicely, mate. He's got to see a specialist after 5 weeks, so I think we're on week 3 now. He had a bit of an ankle clear out as well while he's done what he's done and getting cleared off the specialist. So that's all good now. He can crack on with that. It's just dealing with his initial injury now, which, like I say, we'll know more after week 5 when he sees the specialist.
So it's one of those that you can't really put a timescale on at the moment?
Well, not until that specialist sees him in a couple of weeks. Once he sees him, he'll be able to give us a definite, whether it's 3 more weeks after that, 4 more weeks. We don't know. We'll wait till see what he says on that, mate.
Do you feel like you're missing him?
At the moment, the way the boys are doing, we've got real good strength in depth, I'd say, in our middles, to be fair. You always miss high quality players when they don't play because of their experience and the leadership and things like that. But I'd say in terms of the performances, the boys who've come in have done a really, really good job, and they've put their hands up to own the position themselves. So I think if you look at kind of the development of Oliver Wilson over the last couple of years, he's been phenomenal. He's slotted in. Matty English did a really good job against Hull FC last time. And then the boys at weekend, Hugo, when he's come in, has done a good job as well while he's learning and developing. So I'd just say, yeah, of course you miss the big kind of players when they drop out, but the guys who have stepped in have come in and kind of put their hand up and done the job really well.
Just on the subject of forwards, Harry Rushton's new deal, how significant do you feel that is for the club? Yeah,
I think it's a big one for us, mate. It's about getting like the young British players in to kind of have a core kind of group built in and around your British players, and the higher quality them British players are, the better you are for your club. Harry's one of them who's a complete professional. You see the way he handled his injury, and he was in every day. He was always doing his extras. He was always in, had a smile on his face, was doing the work. He's one of them kids who's willing to work hard and willing to get better.
And Luke Yates will make his 150th appearance, which I'm sure you're aware of if he play.
We celebrated that last week. We thought it was last week, didn't we? yeah. So he's not having another one, JD. We thought his 150th was last week, so we mentioned it, and we spoke about that as well as it being Thomas's Deacon's debut last week.
So you're just going to ignore it this week?
So we might have been a week early. He can't get too much kind of plaudits, can he, and pats on the back.
Well, we didn't ask you about it last week, so I will this week, because obviously half, or just over half of those 150 have been for you, haven't they?
Yeah.
You've said a lot of good things about him over the last couple of seasons. What does he do for the side?
It's just him. It's his work rate, his work ethic. All the boys know what he's like. He's a guy you can trust. He's always going to turn up and he's always going to do the same job over and over again. Doesn't matter how tired he gets, he always turns up. He's a teammate. He's a team player. He's what you want. He's who you want to play with, to be fair.
So Hull FC, like you mentioned, it's not long since you played them. What do you think you'll get from them?
More of the same of what we got last time, where we know they're a really dangerous kind of attacking team, and they like to move the ball, they like to test you coming back on the inside, like to test you with the offloads. So again, it's got to be more about us. We've spoken all through the year about being us and about us being focused on what we're doing, and again, it'll be no different this weekend. It's got to be about how we turn up, our attitude, the way our enthusiasm is, to make sure that we approach the game the right way and do the right things. Ours is all about building and being better week in, week out.
And you know Tony Smith very, very well.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of sympathy for what he's going through at the moment.
Yeah, Tony, I've said it before, I said it after the game that we played him. Tony's a great coach and he's a great guy. he's got a few injuries to deal with, but like most teams, if you get injuries to the main players, it's very, very difficult. And if you have to swap and change your spine all the time, it doesn't help. It becomes very difficult there, because you're not building any consistency or any continuity between the players, so everything's getting disrupted. So if you look what he's had to deal with in terms of, like, 1 minute Danny Houghton's at 9, then Brown's at 9, it's kind of the unexpected, and it'll be the unexpected for him as well. Is sometimes you don't know what to expect, and that's how that's what we've got to expect from Hull, is they will throw the unexpected at you. They'll play with energy, and they'll play kind of with pride, and they'll try really hard. But what we need to be is just kind of focused on ourselves and know what we need to do. But yeah, Tony, I can't speak highly enough for Tony. Tony was real good to me as a younger coach in helping me and mentoring me, and I know kind of the detail and kind of how passionate he is about coaching as well. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of him.
Ad's back in this week. How happy are you to be back in action this weekend?
Yeah, I'd say it were a nice rest, but it were Easter, so it were a nightmare with 3 kids at home. So yeah, we came back in on Wednesday, and I couldn't have come out of the house quick enough to be in training. So I picked up a little niggle last time we played Hull, so had a week just to settle that sort of a bit of an old injury down, and it's settled, so ready to go tomorrow.
I'm sure you watched the game. What was your take on Thomas Deakin's debut?
Yeah, it's just a momentous day for him, really. I spoke to him during the week, and I guess he was probably happy that he was starting, because I told him about my debut, and I said, I sat on a bench a long time, you sort of build up a lot of nervous energy, so he got good minutes. I was impressed with him defensively. And I still think he's so much to give as well. And yeah, good that he got a win for him as well, and he's got a very promising future.
And when you look at the players in your position, you're all very different, aren't you? How do you complement each other, do you think?
Yeah, well, Deke's a young lad, and he's probably the sharpest out of all 3 of us. Ash is a bit unorthodox, can play a variety of positions, but he's sort of the perfect number 14. And I sort of pride myself on my sort of defensive game. So, like you say, we have got a mixed bag of all attributes. So I think we all contribute each other pretty well. So probably gives this coach a bit of an headache in terms of selection, because weighing up all the different options he's got, it's nice for a coach to have that variety of options to pick from at 9.
And what's your take on your own contributions so far this year?
Right now I'm just I missed the Cast game through a ban. Played against Wigan, picked up a ban, so missed the Cast game. Obviously missed that game last week. So now it's about staying in the team and playing consistently well. Big game next week, but we can't write off tomorrow. And it's all about Hull FC tomorrow, and putting in a good performance, and looking forward to just getting out there again and hopefully playing well.
What do you think you'll get from What do you think you'll get from Hull FC, and how important is it not to look at sort of where they are on the table? Yeah,
well, what I was mentioned about last year, and coming off the back of Hull were coming off back of 7 defeats, and then Huddersfield travelled there, Hull FC last year, and got smashed. So that's in us back of his minds, and we don't want a repeat of that again. And having watched the derby last week, I watched a lot of sport last week over Easter. So I watched the derby, and they were disappointed in the first half. So they'll be wanting to put that right, looking for a big start. And in the second half, they look promising. They changed the game a little bit, went a bit more direct, and they've got a lot of big boys charging through that middle. So defensively, we're going to have to be strong and match them up front. So should be a good test.
Just while you're there, Ads, I've got to ask you about George Lawler, obviously a former teammate. How much of a shock has that been for you? What happens?
Yeah. As soon as I saw the news, I messaged him and sent him my best wishes. He's an absolute champion bloke, and you know, he's been great for Cass this year, and the time that he's been at the club, works hard. You know, he's just one of them guys you want outside of you on the field every training session, every game. So I know him well, I know his family well, so I just, you know, send him my regards, as everyone does here at Huddersfield, and hopefully it's something that's not a long-term thing, and you know, he's in the best care now at probably Pinderfield's hospital, so yeah, hopefully it's not something too serious, and we can see him back out on the rugby field once he's gone through probably all the protocol that's needed. But yeah, just wish him all the best.
And just lastly, do things like that put wins and losses in perspective? Yeah,
I think it's a big one for players. You never ever know what's going to happen. You never ever know when it's going to be your last ever game. I know when we were always brought through, and always experienced players always talk to you about treat every game like it's your last. It's kind of a privilege to be doing what you're doing. So you never kind of know really of when it could be your last game, so you have to value everything. Like Adam said there, hopefully it's not too bad and he's going to get plenty more games, because every time you play against him, he's a great player, he's a professional, he works really hard. Like I'd say, it's really sad what's happened to him, not only for him but obviously his family and everything else. So, and when it comes to things like that, kind of rugby takes a kind of a backwards step, if you like, and you've got to focus on the individual and the health of him. And like Ad said there, everyone at Huddersfield wishes him well and hopes that he's well pretty quickly.